Yeah, I thought to that speech, the acceptance speech, I think what was different for me was it seemed like she was saying, this is who I am. She
Right.
wasn't appealing to every single group. She didn't mention race, gender, sexual, all that stuff was gone. It was more, this is what I want to do, even though it was pretty vague at times, obviously. But I saw her differently that night. I really did for the first time. And the other thing I saw was the power of a female politician being tough, really being tough. To use the word lethal, to talk about using force. There is some. I grew up under Maggie Thatcher, so I can see how that can work if she can lean into it.
So you took the word right out of my mouth because I think lethal was the big word. All right. And I also think when Hillary said we got them on the run, I like that. I like that kind of locker room language. You don't have to be a male to use it. That's what people don't understand. But I criticize.
It's even more effective when you're a female.
Absolutely. When I criticize the party messaging for being too feminine, I meant the language that comes out of us. And if you look at Waltz, he's probably more liberal than I am, which is kind of hard to do. It's not impossible, but I think he's that. But he doesn't come across. It's so much more cultural than I used to think. In a lot of our problems, not issues, it's cultural. It's the whole NPR idea just drug Democrats down for a long time, or that hurt us. That hurt the image of the party and the image of the politicians in it.
Yeah, and now think about Harris, though. I was thinking, how would I describe Harris in many ways? Now, obviously, I'm not going down the Trump line. Is she black? I just think of her like I thought of Obama, really, as essentially the offspring of immigrants, a classic second-generation immigrant, both from biracial parents, making their way and loving this country because they had a chance in it. And that's how I would go about describing her.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we still don't really know her.
I know.
Convention taught us a lot, but education about her, I think, is ongoing. It's okay. You kind of burst on the scene, pretty quickly here, and she's going to have a chance to fill out a little bit more about who she is.
But you say that, but she has been vice president for 3.5 years. It's not like she's been invisible. And here's what really here's a question I have in my head. I used to read all the articles about her. Every article, even in the New York Times and the Washington Post, all the nice ones, they all said one thing: she can't manage for shit. That she had a 92% turnover in staff. That she has real difficulty managing an organization. Now, everything I've seen since she emerged does not suggest that, unless someone else is doing it. So I wonder what your take is. That has she really changed, or is?
I think she actually has. All right. And her biggest problem, we know it, they know it, everybody knows, is that 2019 when she was running for president.
Yes.
All right. She is going to have to deal with that.
Right.
And she's going to have to deal with it in an umbrella way. There's no way she's going to say, I took this thing, that thing, and you just all mess up. Look, and the answer is going to be somewhat, I grew. And there are things I think today, and if I'm president for 4 years, I'll come back and tell you that I learned something and I grew here. It's got to be about growth, about seeing something, because when she came into office, people said, what do you think? And if some people would call me and, what do you think her mission should be? And I said, she jumped right on top of this crime thing. And they said, well, we just can't do that. I said, okay. And of course, the crime rate's down like 30%. And of course, that's what she talked about in her announcement speech. Let me be clear, Andrew. Anyone that has ever listened to the identity left on anything has lived to regret it. They're literally the Western left, the Western far left, has literally been wrong about everything from its inception.